Hi, I'm Candace Smith from the Three Angel School of Health, and today we're going to learn about constipation. What is a medical missionary?
Cheese for godly trust.
It's godly trust. Ooh, that was fast. God's plan. Godly trust, open air, daily exercise, sunshine, plenty of rest, lots of water, always temperate, and nutrition.
Is okay.
The laws of health.
Okay, alright.
We have these are the God's 8 doctors, medical missionaries.
The important ones.
Dr. Water,
Okay.
So this is the one that we're gonna learn about.
Dr. Nutrition, Dr. Water.
Okay.
So we're talking about constipation. Doctor, trust in God, which is
Okay.
the most important law.
Okay, constipation is.
The mother of all diseases is constipation. What we eat can kill us. Surely he shall not feel quietness in his belly, he shall not save of that which he desired. Job 20:20. When he is about to fill his belly, God shall cast the fury of his wrath upon him, and shall rain it upon him while he is eating. Job 20:23. So is it important what we put in our bellies, according to God's word?
Yeah, absolutely.
Famous W. Kellogg, MD, said of the 22,000 operations performed, he never found a normal colon.
Have mercy. And this was in the early 1900s.
Yes. Or the late 1800s, early 1900s.
So that means
And so this is a normal colon. See how it's the same, the shape, and how it goes like that?
Mm-hmm.
Here is the ballooning of the colon occurs as a consequence of backed up feces. So you can see right here it's all big.
if that comes out, is it gonna go back to normal? Or is it
It's not guaranteed, but it can
Okay.
in this instance here. But a lot of times, if it's too far gone, it won't go back. But you know how your stomach will get stretched out, and if you fast and you eat less over time, it will go back. Just like an overweight person. But sometimes you still have all that flab and stuff, so it doesn't necessarily. It just kind of depends on the damage that was done, how long it's been, and everything. So, how does someone get backed up feces? Anybody?
If they don't drink enough water.
Don't drink enough water.
That's one of the
One of them, nutrient deficient, especially things like fiber, which
Not enough fiber.
Right.
So what fiber does is it cleans from the
It
inside.
cleans and it helps things to move along. Yes.
Also, if something is wrong with the colon, like the peristalsis
True.
movement, that action.
And how does that happen? How do you get lack of peristalsis?
I know that if you don't have enough water, that's a key element in that movement or whatever.
Stress.
Stress.
Yeah, or-
And also lack of exercise.
like a.
And
Go ahead.
sometimes people they act shy and they need to go to the bathroom. So
Right.
circumstances,
So
situations.
you train your body to
Right.
go when it's
So-
supposed to go.
Right.
So
Yes.
there's lots of things that can create this, but those are pretty much the ones that I can think of. Water is a big one. I know that sometimes when I'm feeling like I gotta go but nothing's happening, drink some water.
Yes.
There,
You go.
there it goes.
Yes.
Same with exercise. Exercise gets everything moving, the blood in there. Yes.
Now, I know Pastor said it, I'm sure you know too, the peristalsis, it's simply electrical energy that it uses, right?
That I don't know.
So the thing is, it would if you don't have reserve energy or if you don't have vital force, that's what would hinder it. And when you're stressed, and when you're all these kind of things, it drains your vital force.
Yes.
So that would hinder the peristalsis as well.
Right. Yeah, stress is a big one too, because everything stops when you're stressed. All your digestive, everything. That's,
Oh my, I can't imagine always being stressed.
yeah, well, that's why the world is a stressful place. You know, people have stressful jobs and they're constipated. Colitis is an irritable bowel condition that is highly associated with stress. So you can see there, it's the ballooning effect and the narrowing of the intestine. There's a little pointer on there.
Yes, the trigger underneath.
Oh, underneath.
Or maybe that one doesn't have it. I'm not sure.
Oh, there it is. Oh, here. So right here is the stricture, right here is the ballooning. And so it gets all backed up in here, and then it's trying to get out this little space.
Oh, one thing too, I remember, if people eat too much processed foods.
Yes, true.
Yes.
Because they don't have fiber, yes.
Yeah, I contribute that to the fiber, because
Oh, right.
since there's no fiber in their food, it gets all stuck on the walls, like white flour, white
sugar.
rice,
Anything white.
white, anything that's denatured and
Modified.
devitamized, you know, it's like been stripped of all the,
Essential nutrients.
yeah, the natural parts of it. Did you have something? Oh, Ryan, you're just playing? Okay. Proverbs 17:22, a merry heart doeth good like a medicine, but a broken spirit drieth the bones. So that's stress. Are you merry when you're stressed?
Obviously not. Stress is a broken
A
spirit.
broken spirit that drieth the bones.
So it affects the bones as well.
Mhm. This is from Counsels and Diets and Foods, page 111. If you feel all wrought up and everything seems to go wrong, perhaps it is because you are suffering the consequences of eating a great variety of food. People who have a sour stomach are very often of a sour disposition. Everything seems to be contrary to them, and they are inclined to be peevish and irritable. If we would have peace among ourselves, we should give more thought than we do to having a perfect or a peaceful stomach.
Ooh.
So here it's the attitude that we have, you know, our thoughts, and also, oh, wrong button. Where'd it go? Okay. And then right here, variety of food. Why would that, why would we suffer the consequences of eating a variety of food? What do you think?
That's a good question, because I thought we were supposed to eat a variety of food.
Ah, yes.
It depends. Maybe
But
the
how
right
many
combination.
varieties?
Yeah, that's right.
Maybe what he's referring to is if you have, let's say, you drink water with your meal, you have fruits and vegetables, and
So the
and then-
combination.
yeah.
It's the combinations, yeah.
Yeah.
She said we should eat just a few, like, I think it's like,
She says three.
2 or 3
Two
or
or three. She
something.
says, I think, at one meal. Yes.
So you know when you go to potluck on Sabbath,
Oh
and
my.
there's like veggie meat and beans and rice and bread and oats, something, you know, like dessert, and then you have this vegetable thing, this fruit thing, you know, if you eat all of that, your stomach's gonna be like, what did you just do to me?
Choosing 2 or 3 is hard, though.
Yeah, it is hard. But say there's a rice dish and then another rice dish that are a little bit different, you could eat those 2 things. You know what I mean? But you don't want to mix fruits and vegetables because the acids and the bases, and then too many different things, your stomach has to break down each one individually, and it just has so much work to do. It takes a lot longer. I don't know if you've ever noticed, if you've done that, eaten too many different varieties, that it seems like potluck takes a long time to digest.
Yeah, man.
I mean, I've had that happen to me. I'm like, oh, I ate things big. And so, we'll suffer the consequences, and we won't have a peaceful stomach. And not only that, but when we do that, we become peevish and irritable. And I found that too. If my stomach is all super full, I become a bit irritable, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So it's again, it's cause and effect.
Cause and effect, exactly. When the diet is lacking in fiber, the colonic muscle must work extremely hard to force the feces through the organ. So that's the fiber that gets everything to move along, up here, this way, and down. And so if it doesn't have that fiber to help it move, then it's going very slowly. And the slower it goes, what happens to the fecal matter in there?
Rottens.
It rots, it becomes hard because the water gets extracted from it because that's where you absorb your water and stuff.
Is this okay? What are those things sticking out the side? Is this some kind of disease? Diverticola? Diverticola?
That's why it happens because it tries to squeeze it because but it's so hard.
Oh, I see.
So you know,
I didn't even notice that. Yeah, these are the diverticuli part
Oh, okay. That's
because the feces is trying to get out and and you're pushing, then it creates these pockets on the
Oh,
sides of your
really?
intestines, and then food gets stuck in there. And so people that have right here,
yeah.
diverticulitis, which is
Okay.
inflammation of the diverticula,
Mm.
then they can't eat nuts and stuff because the nuts get stuck in there.
Eee.
And so they have to, if you like nuts, then you will be sad if you get those.
Oh.
So you have to, it's from all the straining and the pushing of the
Okay.
food through there.
Lord, help me to drink enough water.
Yeah, that too. Because I know a lady that had to be on a special diet because of that.
Mm.
Job 40:16, lo, now his strength is in his loins, and his force is in the navel of his belly.
Mm.
In Deuteronomy 34:7, and Moses was 120 years old when he died. His eye was not dim, nor his natural force abated.
Mm.
So, can we do things to decrease our vital force?
Of course.
Absolutely. Overtaxing the system.
Overtaxing the system, not keeping the 8 laws.
Mm.
so. Sorry.
When the colonic muscle gets weak and the body is under stress and the colon is not emptied properly, it collapses under pressure.
Mercy.
So remember the normal colon? How how it went across the top?
Mm-hmm.
Now it's way down here.
Yeah, then you're gonna have even more trouble.
Yes, so when you see someone with those bellies that kind of like hang over, that's actually
What's going
what's
on?
happening here.
That kind of. Okay.
And when you see a person that's real skinny legs and just the big right here, that's all, a lot of it's backed up feces.
Eesh.
Yeah. Yes.
Just a question. Like people that are really malnourished, they have like a big stomach. You know
Mhm.
Worms.
what I mean? Why?
Worms could be. I actually don't know about that one.
I thought worms would always keep you very skinny.
There's worms that will make you fat because you get so many of them in there. Like I think it's tapeworms that make you skinny, but there's other worms. I know, like for dogs, it's called roundworms, I think,
Mm.
and they make a dog fat.
Yeah, I've heard of it. Okay.
Because like my little dog, when he first came to us out of the forest, he was round. He didn't want to eat anything. And so I was like, he probably has worms, so I gave him some worm medicine. And the next day he was skinny. He had pooped it all out.
Wow. Nice.
And some people deliberately take worms, they swallow it, and it makes them lose a lot of weight. And then they drink something to get rid of the worms.
Yeah.
But then there are some people who do that, and the worms, all of them don't go, and it ends up killing them. Because
Really?
the worms
That's
eat them
terrible.
from the inside,
Yeah, because worms, when they're eating all the food that you're eating,
You're not getting it.
you're not getting the nutrients that you need.
Right.
So sure, you're losing weight, but you're also killing yourself, really.
That's right.
Things people do.
So that's a good question to find out about.
Oh,
'Cause I'm not sure about why that happens. Oh, and then, so this prolapsus with pressure on lower organs. So this resting on top of right here, that it's not supposed to be resting there, it's going to create problems as well. 2 Chronicles 21:15, and thou shalt have great sickness by disease of thy bowels, until thy bowels fall out by reason of the sickness day by day.
Oh, so it's referring to the whatever it's called.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Let's see if it says on the next one. Oh, okay, that's different. So, there's different reasons why, but I've heard where your intestines will like come out.
Yeah, but that's what I heard. Like you poop them out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and I know it can happen from, you know, if your lifestyle, you put stuff up there and stuff. But then, you know, there's other reasons. When the muscle is overworked and not given it enough time to rest, it will go into spasms.
And that's how a spasm looks like?
Yeah, like, I guess so.
So what you mean overwork? Just keep eating and not allowing your food to digest properly and all of that?
Yes, like IBS.
What is IDS?
IBS.
What is IBS?
Yeah, let's see. Where's my pen? Here. IBS is, oops. Sorry for my handwriting here.
Well, irritable bowel syndrome.
Yeah,
Oh,
irritable
yes,
bowel
okay.
syndrome.
Thank you.
Now, in my opinion, this means that the doctors don't know what's wrong with you. I used to have IBS. It's the
Really?
first, I think I spelled this wrong. I think it's,
Irritable.
I'm probably still spelling it wrong. But anyway, when I was in the world and stuff, I partied, I drank, I ate devitamized food, lots of white bread, ice cream, meat, everything. Not a lot of vegetables, not a lot of fruit.
So
You know,
Mm-hmm.
basically how the world tells you to eat.
Mhm.
I mean, I thought vegetables or like a little bit of corn on your plate, you know?
Corn doesn't need a red
Or if I'm gonna
vegetable.
have a salad, it's like this big and it's iceberg lettuce with just a little bit of something on there, you know?
And
White bread,
some
corn
chicken and pork.
Yeah, and so I was drinking a lot. I was binging on food a lot because I smoked marijuana and stuff. So you get the munchies and you eat a whole bunch of food, and usually it's like sweets and like as much as you can eat. And I didn't know that you should wait, 5 hours in between meals. I'm sure I wasn't drinking enough water. I was drinking alcohol and
Yeah, and alcohol, that's
soda and alcohol
water.
and beer and I drink a lot of coffee, which dehydrates you. I mean, all these things that dehydrate you. A lot of salt because I was eating out, and so I'm getting constipated. But I don't know that I'm constipated because you're not really taught that you should have 2 or 3 bowel movements a day. And so the topping on the cake was the father. What do you call it? The father of
All disease.
Of all disease.
Mother of all
Stress.
disease.
No, the mother of all diseases.
No, the father is
Father.
stress.
Father is stress.
And
All
the
right.
mother, yeah.
So and what was the mother?
Constipation.
Constipation. So I had the mother, but I didn't know. And when I added the father of all diseases, which was stress, I got a job that was very stressful out of college. And I mean, I'm a perfectionist, and then I had to learn all this stuff, and I just stressed myself out like all day. And then maybe even if I thought about it at night, and then I go back to work and stress all day and just keep doing that, right? And eventually my body had said, I've had enough. And so I started to have spasms in my colon. Or, it was over here that I felt it.
How did that feel?
It hurt, like you have a pain. I don't
Did
know.
it feel like a cramp? Someone
Kind
was,
of like a cramp, but just on the side.
if someone was stabbing you?
Yeah, I guess so.
I think I've had a spasm before.
Yeah, and so then with IBS, you can have constipation, but you can also have diarrhea, because what happens is you have all the impacted feces there, and then your body tries to add water to get it to move, and the diarrhea like gets around there, and then
it goes around the outside. It doesn't.
yeah, and so it goes around the outside, and so then you go between the two. And if you keep putting more food in there, and you keep not doing what you're supposed to do, like drink the water and all that stuff, it's a cycle.
Okay.
And so, irritable bowel syndrome is what they diagnosed me with. They gave me pills, and I read this website where if you drink peppermint tea, fennel tea, like peppermint tea will relax your intestines, and then fennel tea will like decrease gas, and then you take fiber. It was this one kind of fiber, because there's this girl out there that has a website, and she had irritable bowel syndrome since she was 9 years old. So she found that the remedy is to eat only white bread, cut out dairy, which is true, but she still ate meat, and to cut the fiber off of all your fruits and vegetables. So basically she was decreasing anything that would irritate the intestines. But that's not curing it, that's just curing the symptoms. And so I did the diet, till I found out the truth about how to eat and everything. And, you have to always drink the tea, you have to do all this stuff. And when I met my husband, and then he introduced me to the 8 laws of health and everything, and I started keeping the 8 laws, guess what happened?
It all went away.
Oh, it went away.
Nice.
I didn't have to take any pills, I didn't have to eat special, just, I was vegan. But, and then just watch what you eat, make sure you get exercise and all that stuff. And so the spasms went away, and I don't have to do anything. So it really has to do with your diet and lifestyle. A stricture of the bowel usually occurs after an inflammatory disease such as colitis has damaged the tissue. So colitis is inflammation of the colon, and when something's inflamed, right, like on the outside, it's like you don't want to get anything on it to irritate it, right? But if you keep irritating it, what happens? It just gets worse.
Oh yeah.
So if you keep eating and stressing and all the different things, eventually this is what happens to you. And you get a stricture, and I know at some point they usually cut out your intestines.
If you have a stricture?
If it becomes to where, let's see, is it the next? Oh no, it's not on here. If it becomes, where you can't pass anything through there, they'll cut it out, and they'll put the bag on the outside.
Yeah.
So, actually it was Crohn's disease. It's similar, and I think Crohn's is a little bit different. I can't remember exactly what happens, but a friend of ours had Crohn's disease, and he just cut out, he was a vegan, but he ate cheese, cut out cheese, and he got better.
So it was cheese that caused Crohn's disease?
Well, because cheese is unfit for human consumption.
And it rots, right?
And it's rotten, and it inflames everything, and your body doesn't want it in there, it wants to get it out, but if it's staying in there all the time, it's like irritating.
Oh, so if somebody says like, okay, like meat and cheese, like dairy products and stuff, it digests, like it takes longer to digest.
Slow.
Is that like in your colon? Or like
It just stays.
overall?
Yeah, like if you eat meat and cheese, it's slow digesting. So like a tiger, they have a very short, or a dog, they have short intestines, because they eat the meat, the digest goes through the short intestine out the other end really fast. But we have a very long digestive tract, so it takes so long for it to finally expel from the body.
And meat will ferment.
It will ferment in
Way,
there.
yeah.
And it doesn't have the fiber in it to move it along, So people that don't eat their vegetables and all that stuff. If we'll turn to Job 30, 27, 28.
Something. Oh, never mind, sorry.
Job 30, 27, and 28. My bowels boiled and rested not. The day of affliction prevented me. I went mourning without the sun. I stood up and I cried in the congregation. That sounds terrible.
So my bowels boiled.
They boiled.
And it didn't rest.
It doesn't rest. So I'm thinking boiling is hot, like inflammation.
Mm-hmm.
And so
It's probably due to stress.
stress or just the meat and the cheese or
And some, what do you call them, like spicy foods?
spicy foods.
What do you call it, like mustard and ketchup, what do you call it?
Vinegar
Vinegar.
stuff.
I know, but what's the term for those
Condiment.
condiments? Yeah, that's the
Right, right. Well, I know like hot peppers. Cayenne is different than most hot peppers, like jalapenos, habaneros, all those.
Scotch bonnet.
And my husband has a good story in which he would put, the hot pepper stuff on his food previously, before he knew about health stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And he said it would go hot in and come out hot.
Yep.
So, you got to think about what it's doing to the inside of your body. And like, we met this lady in Fiji. She was Indian, and she couldn't eat spicy food anymore. She had messed up her stomach so bad from all the spicy stuff over the years.
Yeah, Indians are very high in spice.
I have an uncle. He loves those hot peppers that irritate the bowels, and he has come to the point where it has actually burned him out, and he suffers from heartburn.
Oh, yeah.
Really
Really
bad
bad,
heartburn.
yes.
Well, that's the other thing I had with IBS was heartburn. Like, because it's not moving out, it's staying there, and then it comes back out.
Mhm.
And in history, what they used to do to preserve food was either salted corn, like they call beef, like corned beef with salted beef,
Yeah.
or they would put spice. When the meat was spoiled,
Mm.
they would add spicy ingredients to bring back the flavor and to disguise the
Oh, the rottenness.
the rot.
Gross.
Yeah.
Yeah, so eating rotten food, I mean, that's what fermented stuff is. It's basically, and that's what cheese is.
Mm.
It's all rotted stuff, and you're putting it in your body like it's food. Acts 12:23. And immediately the angel of the Lord smote him because he gave not God the glory, and he was eaten of worms and gave up the ghost. So who is this talking about?
Herod.
Herod. And what had Herod done?
He accept worship.
Yes, he thought he was God, and he accepted the worship of the people. So worms is another cause of constipation. Job 32:18. For I am full of matter, the spirit within me constraineth me.
Full of matter.
So that's
Job was constipated.
Well, even the other one that we just read, where was it? I don't even know exactly.
well, in 32:19.
Yes, and it was because of stress, because he was talking about
Right.
That's why I mentioned it.
My bowels are boiled. Yeah.
Behold, my belly is as wine which hath no vent; it is ready to burst like new bottles.
My belly is
So
That's
you
gas,
can see Job had
right?
stress.
Oh, so he was going through all of that when the enemy touched him?
Yeah, well,
Imagine so.
I thought it was only boils from the crown of his head.
No, I mean, he had all kinds of stuff.
He had all the, oh,
Psalms 109. Well, think about when you're stressed, what happens to you. All kinds of things. (16 through 19). Will someone read that?
Because that he remembered not to show mercy, but persecuted the poor and needy man, that he might even slay the broken in heart. As he loved cursing, so let it come unto him. As he delighted not in blessing, so let it be far from him. As he clothed himself with cursing, like as with his garment, so let it come into his bowels, like water and like oil into his bones.
So what's that?
And verse 19, let it be unto him as a garment which covereth him, and for a girdle wherewith he is girded continually.
So what happens when your bowels become like water?
diarrhea.
Diarrhea. And then he needs something to, 19, where it says he has to be girded continually so it doesn't.
And I know, was it like down and up vomiting too? Because sometimes when people's stomach is, when they feel sick, they vomit, and that's like,
I mean, they can, if they're really, really compacted, like if they have something that's blocked there, it will come up the other way.
so that's, oh no.
That has happened.
Yeah, that happens.
Mhm.
My bowels, I am pained at my very heart. Jeremiah 4:19.
Oh, she loved this Bible verse.
I
If he was here, he would see the look on his face.
So, does that look like normal poo to you?
Mm-mm.
No.
And it looked like some food that I've seen.
What?
Yes.
Let's see.
Oh, I
Jeremiah 4
know
verse
that.
19.
Jeremiah 4.
Yeah, my bowels, I'm pained at my very heart. So when your bowels ain't working right, then your heart pains you.
Well, see, the thing is, all these scriptures all have to do with stress.
Right.
Mhm.
My heart maketh a noise in me. I cannot hold my peace, because thou hast heard, O my soul, the sound of the trumpet, the alarm of war.
Right.
So yes, he's under stress.
The flight or fight.
Fight or flight, and that means stress.
Yeah, I mean, I know, just thinking about something stressful that's really stressful, like, you feel it in your heart first, and then you feel it down here.
And that's why the enemy wants us to
He's stressed.
be stressed out. He brings things, he brings different people to do things. I'm gonna tell you something, but I have to pray. Sometimes I'm trying to go fast in the bathroom, and then somebody knock on the door. It's like I want to get stressed out, but then I say, Lord, help me to be calm.
Because it
help me
won't
to
come
just
out
move
bad.
fast. I said, Lord, help me.
That is true. And so I'm in Acts 28:8.
Maybe it's the last chapter.
And it came to pass that the father of Publius lay sick of a fever and of a bloody flux, to whom Paul entered in and prayed and laid his hands on him and healed him.
Mm.
So you can get blood in there. A lot of times it's from the irritation, and then it starts to bleed. Different worms will do it. A blocked colon, if you're straining and stressing, you get hemorrhoids and they bleed. And
Are you reading all the verses?
Yes, she has.
Can they see your papers?
well, I can't show you the videos, but this is a blocked colon, and so he has to give him a colonic. Well, actually, he gave him an enema, colonic enema, and basically get some water in there to kind of get it to come out.
Mhm.
Have you ever had a tonic?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You actually feel really good afterwards.
Yeah.
It's just, you know,
You feel lighter.
you feel lighter, you feel, you know, when you're constipated, you feel kind of irritable and all that. You kind of like, I don't know, but when your things are moving, you just feel better. Because what happens when you're constipated? I don't know what these are pictures of. When you're constipated, you have a lot of toxins in your system
Oh yeah.
trying to get out. And so if you're helping to get it out, your body says, thank you. And you can get rid of those poisons, you know. Oh, Lamentations, okay. Lamentations 2:11. It's after the book of Jeremiah. Will someone read Jeremiah not Jeremiah. Lamentations chapter 2 verse 11.
It says, mine eyes do fail with tears, my bowels are troubled, my liver is poured upon the earth, for the destruction of the daughter of my people, because the children and the sucklings swoon in the streets of the city.
So what does this verse mean, do you think? What does your liver have to do with your
Toxins,
bowels?
because your liver,
It deals with
liver is supposed to eliminate toxins, right?
purifying.
And if you're stressed, your colon can't work properly, and then you get toxic, and then the liver tries to get rid of it, but it gets overstressed.
Right, so even without the stress, if your colon or your intestines aren't moving and all the feces is blocked in there, and so when the liver releases the toxins into the bowels, it's not really getting out of there, right? It's still in there. And then it gets released back into the bloodstream, and then it goes back to your liver again, and it's just like, you become toxic, basically.
Oh. Is that a result of
This is a leg ulcer from constipation.
really?
Oh my.
That's crazy. So,
Because it's toxins, obviously.
and you get, actually I don't really know, but
Does it even affect your skin?
if your liver
Ah.
is having trouble, then that's probably not the only organ having trouble.
Mm.
So that's why when you have colon problems, you probably get a lot, you get pimples and like the.
Yeah, because the toxins are trying to come out another way. Like, I wanted to. Have you learned about the 7 means of detoxification? Like what body parts eliminate?
Oh yeah.
Toxins?
That, I would like
There's
that.
7 of them.
I would like that. Now it makes sense to me because Mennonites, young Mennonites, they usually are full of pimples.
Oh yeah.
And now I know
Because
why.
diet.
Well, yeah. When I was in high school, I ate so much junk. No wonder I became what I call a pizza face, and when I was a senior. Yes.
Does eczema have to deal with this as well, with your liver?
Eczema. I don't know. I'd have to look it up. But most diseases come from constipation because your body can't eliminate the toxins, and then your body becomes poisoned, and then it's trying to compensate, and then all kinds of things can go wrong.
The thing is, if you solve constipation, you're going to solve all the other problems as well.
More than likely.
That and your liver, I guess.
I mean, there's lots of things but that's the first thing that you need to do. Like, for any natural remedy, you want to stick with the 8 laws of health, or recommend those things, and get the colon moving, basically. So we usually give them like some kind of cleanser to do that, which I can talk about a little bit later. But so the 7 means of detoxification from the blood. It says detoxification means cleaning the blood of toxins removed by the liver.
Okay.
What else?
Skin,
Skin.
Liver.
urine,
Yes, that's called, I put bladder. Well, let's see. I guess I'm going by body parts.
okay.
So liver, skin, kidneys.
Yes.
So they're means of detoxification, right?
Yes. How do you clean the blood or whatever? It comes out through the intestines.
Really?
You know, that's what we're talking about, the way your body eliminates toxins. So you can eliminate them through the liver, the skin, the kidneys, the intestines, the lymph system.
Really?
What's
yeah,
what's
yeah,
that?
That's like the little lymph nodes everywhere.
Yeah,
And it will
Okay,
trap.
I wasn't here during that time. So
Okay.
I don't know.
It'll trap
It's
the
okay.
toxins in there.
Yeah, no, your lymph fluid, it joins, goes into your circulatory system, and it attracts all the toxins,
Right.
and then it takes it out into the urinary tract, and you.
Ah,
That's
okay,
it.
that's how it works. Yeah.
I think something like that.
Something like that, yeah. Because I know that it traps it in there. That's why when people get their lymph nodes removed, not good. Yes.
Yeah. It destroys
The
it.
lymph is lymph nodes?
It's the lymph system, which is basically the lymph nodes.
Oh, there's a
But there's the lymph and all that. And then the lungs,
Mm.
right? So
Mhm.
you expel the carbon dioxide and the blood.
Okay, these are the 7 means of detoxification.
Yes. Of your body, like.
Mhm.
Did you say deep or deep?
Detoxification?
Detoxification.
Oh.
Deep toxification. Let me just. That's just the opposite.
Okay. Fungal infection. Now, how do you think this happens from constipation?
Toxin has to go somewhere. I don't know.
So you get a buildup of fungus. It's not, your body will attack all the stuff that needs to be eliminated.
Mhm.
And so if it's not eliminating, it's gonna come out in your skin. Like I had, like I said, the IBS, and then I found out a little bit later that I had a problem with yeast, which is like a fungus. And so it was an imbalance in the body. And so you had to get rid of the yeast, but how are you gonna get rid of it if you're constipated,
Yeah, that's right.
right? So you gotta get stuff moving. 52 million living Americans will develop cancer.
Colon cancer specifically.
Yes, this looks like colon cancer we're talking about. Change, oh, this is the advanced stage. Change in bowel habits may be the first symptom, sorry, of left colon, let's say lesions.
Yeah, it looks
I
like
think
it.
so.
So here, let's see. Where's my pointer? Constipation and obstruction right here. So this feces is trying to come out this right here, right? And then it creates an urgency to have to go. So that's the other thing with IBS, that you feel like you have to go all the time.
Mhm.
And then the stool may be covered in blood or mixed with the blood, because there's bleeding when it's trying to get out through something that, you know, is restricted. And so, so a cancer can cause, you know, a narrowing.
Hmm.
You know, if it's like a tumor or something, it will push and it will, you know, cut off the opening.
Right.
Heredity. Let's see. These are like polyps that grow in there.
Mhm.
see, familial polyopsis, Gardner syndrome, and cancer family syndrome inherited via autosomal dominant pattern. Interesting. So, I'm not really sure about this one. I think it's just talking about tumors that can develop. Now, heredity, I have the heredity to develop diabetes, but I didn't have to develop diabetes, you know.
Lifestyle trigger.
Yeah, lifestyle triggered it. Let's see, Second Chronicles chapter 21.
5 minutes or 4 minutes.
Oh, okay. I guess tell me when I have 1 minute so I can wrap it up, right? Second Chronicles chapter 21, verse 14 through 21. Behold, with a great plague will the Lord smite thy people and thy children and thy wives and all thy goods. And thou shalt have great sickness by disease of thy bowels, until thy bowels fall out by reason of the sickness day by day. Moreover, the Lord stirred up against Jehoram the spirit of the Philistines and of the Arabians that were near the Ethiopians. And they came up into Judah and brake into it and carried away all the substance that was found in the king's house, and his sons also and his wives, so that there was never a son left him save Jehoaz, the youngest of his sons. And after all this, the Lord smote him in his bowels with an incurable disease. And it came to pass that in the process of time, after the end of 2 years, his bowels fell out by reason of his sickness. So he died of sore diseases, and his people made no burning for him like the burning of his fathers. 32 years old was he when he began to reign. And he reigned in Jerusalem 8 years and departed without being desired. Howbeit they buried him in the city of David, but not in the sepulchres of the kings. So who would like to explain that?
Alright. So he was having stress because the Philistines and the Arabians and the Ethiopians came against him and they carried everyone captive, and the stress triggered a disease in his bowels, an incurable disease.
So
And
would that be cancer? Like a cancer? Because we were talking about colon cancer.
Possibly. Because it's, well, we know that cancer can be cured, but it's an
Yes.
incurable disease.
Pastor,
Yes.
what kind of disease is it when you poop out your bowels?
Oh, okay. It's called prolapse.
Prolapse?
So it means that your bowels actually come out. So the connective tissue that holds your bowels in, there is inside of you. You have a lining that connects all of your things, so it keeps everything in place. So you actually lose that. So when your bowels all come out, that means that the connective tissue has all been disintegrated. So it doesn't mean it doesn't. It may have been a form of cancer, but he had no strength. He was probably a fat person.
And what about the heredity? Let's talk about heredity. Right here, the multiple polyopsis syndrome.
Oh, yes.
And stuff.
Polyopsis is just polyps that are infected, and it just means that you have multiple polyps in there. Polypops is a pancolonic inflammatory. So pan means that the entire thing, and so the entire bowel is inflamed.
And that's why it leads to cancer, right? 'Cause it's
Yes.
always
So it's inflamed, and so cancer is just a cell that no longer obeys the law.
So, I know we didn't get to remedies yet, but I know like ginger is good for inflammation.
Yes, but see, the problem is stress, or whether it's mental, physical, or otherwise. It is seriously, colon cancer can be attributed to diet, exercise.
Lack of water.
No, diet, exercise, well, water is very important, but mental stability.
Peace of mind that we're talking about.
So if you can deal with a peace of mind, see, people who are always under, they're high strung, high stress, these individuals will develop at some point a form of cancer because they're turning, you go from being alkaline to having an acidic system.
So stress gives acid.
Stress causes your entire system become acidic, starting with your digestive system. And from there, it travels into the rest of your body. So people who are high stress, and you know who people who are really high stress? Control freaks. People who want to be in control are stressed because they're always trying to control the outcome and things of others.
And they're not trusting in God.
Well, they can't trust in God because they are acting as if they are God. You can't trust in God if you think you are God. And you think you're God because you think anybody and everybody has to obey you. That's a real serious issue. So that's why humility, it's hard to get cancer when you're humble.
Right. Wow.
It's not impossible, but it's extremely difficult. You know, because when you're humble, nothing by any means shall
Offend you.
hurt you. Great peace have they which love thy law, and nothing shall. When it says great peace, it means that you have an alkaline system.
Right.
But you're not so alkaline. Everything is homeostasis, meaning everything is as it should be.
Right.
Peace, no war. That's what peace is, the absence of war.
So we'll go back to Jeremiah when he was talking about my bowels.
I am pained at my very heart. Yeah, so he's dealing with his heart, his brain, and his bowels were all suffering because he heard the alarm of war. Jeremiah 4:19. So stress affects your mind, your brain, your heart, and literally, so 1, 2, 3. All 3 aspects of man.
Wow.
Anyway,
Alright.
all right,
That is the end of part 1.
Thank you.
I guess we can break it.
Time out.
Well, let's have a prayer before we depart. For our 10-minute break. Willie, will you pray for us?
Father in heaven, we thank you for the things we have learned here, and Heavenly Father, we ask that in consequence we might learn to put all our trust in you and to be humble, that these diseases might not affect us. Father, the gospel has truly given us deliverance from all these, and we thank you. Be with us now as we go and take a break. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.